Firstly, we had a court case that you had some employers in the construction sector. They were basically had a beef with the SEO. The SEO is a Sectoral Employment Order, which pertains to the construction industry. The employers won, and the judge kicked out the SEO. Right. So what that means is that there's 3 SEOs, employment orders in the construction sector, which are now at risk, including the one that you threw out. So the issue is, it relates to the pay rates that the trades and other workers, GEOs and crane workers and forklift drivers all earn in the construction sector. So basically, what's happened as soon as the SEO was kicked out, we got evidence of guys' money is being cut, their rates are being cut. Not so much their money, but their rates they've been told, right, you're on a lower rate now than what you were before. Now, they're not allowed to do that until it's all kind of finalised and appealed. So the first thing we wanted to do, we want the government to appeal the court order, right? So Varadkar announced yesterday that he's going to appeal it. Now the point is, the appeal could take years, right? And in that period of time, the construction industry will probably collapse. Guys are going to get their money cut, their rates cut anyway. So Varadkar said he's going to appeal the SEO, it being thrown out. Well, what sort of appeal is he going to do? If he does a half-assed appeal, that's it, the rates are cut.
So, Breed, you've been in the news recently around this case and comments that you made, so maybe you can elaborate what your opinion is of what's going on here.
Well, I think, on top of what Andrew said, there's another serious issue that the judge ruled on, and that was that he said that sectoral employment orders, which is what SEO stands for, which put a floor on pay, conditions and pensions for the construction industry, the electronics industry, the engineering industry, and further into the harder areas to organise, which are like contract cleaning and security, that these themselves were anti-competitive and therefore were unconstitutional. And it was an extraordinary statement to make, because basically it means that, in his words, a pay rate that may look lucrative to an electrician may force down competition for an employer. And the implications of that is that the Oireachtas should have no role in protecting workers' rights, pay or conditions or pensions, which is impossible to live with. If that's the reason, there's no point in having a democratically elected Oireachtas, and particularly people like me who are elected to defend workers' rights. So depending on how this appeal goes, and I am pleased that they've announced that they're going to appeal it, but it has to be robustly defended in the Supreme Court. And by that I mean they have to throw everything at it and not just have a lame appeal to the Supreme Court. And if we lose, if the construction industry workers lose in the Supreme Court, there has to be a major fight back within the industry and right across this country. Because we all know that the Irish economy has been structured for decades around pampering builders and developers. They've done very nicely out of it. We bailed them out the last time. Many of the biggest offenders are floating around again, and they're the ones that will want to drive down pay and conditions. So there has to be a fight back within this industry. The unions have to really organise now around low pay, around pensions and around rights of workers.
I'm Branch Secretary of Unite, Archaeological Branch. We applied for our SEO a couple of years ago, and unfortunately at the time we were turned down. Our industry experienced 90% unemployment in the last recession. So we had qualified graduates, skilled labourers and so on minimum wage at the time, and we can't, we're here to express our solidarity. We can't possibly allow the situation whereby rates can be cut and a race to the bottom again, and that skilled people building sites and so on are left with minimum wage. It's just not, it can't happen, and we're not willing to let that happen again, basically.